Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Mary and I give you guys an extra warm welcome. I would love it if you grabbed a snack, stayed for a while, and click the subscribe button. I would love to have you. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you more than you know. So as you can tell by the title of the video, today we're going to talk about how I personally achieve the best base possible. Now, it can really change depending on your skin type, where you live, but I'm going to show you what has worked for me personally, and hopefully it helps one of you guys out. So if that sounds like a video you would like to see, then just go ahead and keep on watching. Alright guys, first things first, you need to make sure that you have your skincare routine down. It does not have to be super intricate. It doesn't have to be like 10 steps. Just make sure that you have a skincare routine that works beautiful for your skin type. I already washed my face and I always put sunscreen or SPF on my face, which I did do today. I used the Unseen Super Goop for today. It's been sitting on my skin, so now we're going to hydrate the skin again. And I usually, most of the time, if not 100% of the time, use the Wet n Wild Primer Serum. I don't know why, but I just love this. It seriously just brings back hydration into my skin. Now that I am in a dry climate, I do need to add more hydration to my skin for sure. Okay, now that that is on, I'm going to move into primers. Now, you are either a primer person or you're not. It is perfectly okay if you are or you aren't. I personally am. If you're not, just go in with a moisturizer, which technically is what I did with the hydration part. So whatever you use to hydrate your skin, that should work well enough. Honestly, I feel like primers are mostly to build a barrier between your skin and the makeup, and also some of them do work with the climate, and so that your makeup just kind of stays in place and lasts a tiny bit longer. I'm going to go in with a pore filling primer in my Tzone. For today, we're going to use the Denissa Myrex, and this is the Universal Blurring Balm Powder. I use this in my Tzone, so on my chin, which gets very oily on the sides of my nose, where I have pores that are a little bit larger than the rest of my face, and I also go right in here because it also tends to get oily right here. All right, depending on the type of foundation you are going to use, at least for me personally, that depends on what primer I'm going to use for the rest of my face. We are going to go with one that's not glowy but also not matte. So for today I chose the Master Prime. This is the Blur Redness and Control Pigments. I worked out not too long ago, so my skin is still a little, not irritated, but yeah. And I'm just going to add this to the rest of the face where I did not put the Denissa Myrex. Alright, I did go in with the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Eye Primer, and I used it under my eyes. I've been finding that using an under eye primer has really helped my under eyes a lot. I used to use the Jaclyn Cosmetics one. It expired, so I had to toss it. But once I feel like I'm almost done with this, and as you can tell it's up to here, then I'll go ahead and purchase a new one. Okay, now comes the foundation application. Now you can apply your foundation with a brush or with a sponge. I honestly feel like it's personal preference, and I also do feel like the type of foundation can also determine whether you are going to use a brush or a sponge. If it's a very thick consistency or like a balm cream foundation, kind of like the Wayne Gauze, then I do feel like I prefer to use a sponge sometimes. I also feel like the weather the way your skin is doing. All of that comes into factor. But for today, we're going to use a brush. And this is the Sonia G Jumbo Base. It's part of the KKW brush set. It's like the mini travel set handle. That's why it's so short. I do have the regular size one, but this is new and we're going to use this. All right, so I started this thing where I pick a foundation and a concealer for the week. I haven't been able to do that for the past 2-3 weeks since I moved. So for this week I decided to pick a combo, and since Fenty Beauty just released new shades for the match sticks, I decided to throw this in there. So I'm using this for concealer. French Vanilla is the shade, and also the Pro Filtr Hydrating Longwear Foundation. This is this week's pick, and it's what we're going to put on my face today. All right, so I feel like the number one tip I can give anyone when it comes to foundation application is to start very small. So I pretty much always pump to my finger, and I always do like the lightest amount. Building up is a lot better than having too much, because you can build up easier than you can take off product. So I usually start here, 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 and then whatever's left over, put here and here, and then just kind of rub it. All right, so now I'm going to go into my brush and I'm going to start spreading it. And the reason I mainly focused right in the middle is because that's typically where you need the most coverage. Especially me, like I have the redness around my nose, that's pretty prominent. All right, that is nice and spread out. Going to go in again with some more product. This is in shade 260. I don't remember if I mentioned it. Okay, and I usually like warm it up on my finger. So then after that, I go and I apply it to the perimeters on my face, and then where I feel I need more coverage and didn't get covered enough. I still haven't used this. Alright, and this is what the skin is looking like, and as you can tell, some of my like redness and maybe blemishes is still peeking through just a tiny bit. So I'm gonna get the rest and apply it in those areas. I don't mind if they still show up, but I have this extra product, so I'm just gonna use it up, because why not, right? And honestly, I feel like I grabbed too much in that second pump, because now it's looking a little more makeup-y than I wish it did. I like a very light layer. I like it to look like my skin, but better. And right now you can tell that I definitely have foundation on. Alright, next is concealer. And for me personally, I prefer to use a brush. I will use a sponge from time to time, but I definitely feel like one, I waste less product. Two, I can gauge better how much I'm using in my under eyes, because it can go very bad very fast by using too much. My absolute favorite concealer brush is the Sonia G Mini Base. But for today, we're going to use the Jumbo Worker from the KKW Mini brush set from Sonia G. I mean, it seems like it'll be a good fit. And I think I'm going to jump in like grab it from the stick in the brush versus swiping it. I typically go in here and right here and sometimes here. I also put right here. I do use corrector, but I need to find it. Alright, now come to the blending. And I always blend down here first. Don't ask me why, I just do. Oh, because I like to let the concealer sit a tiny bit under my eyes. Okay, so this is definitely working well as a concealer brush. That's nice. And as you can tell, I'm like really blending it. And I'm using like the smallest force. I'm literally just letting the brush do the work. The less amount of concealer I have in my under eyes, the better it just lays and looks smoother without creasing too crazy. Alright guys, and here is what the skin is looking like. I still feel like I added a tiny bit more foundation than what I typically would go for. Sometimes if it's a heavy foundation, using a sponge just kind of helps you be able to sheer it out and just lay down a little bit more natural. So I think, now that I remember, now that I recall, I prefer this Fenty foundation with a sponge. See, depending on the foundation, and once you work with it, you know which method you prefer applying it with. This one I like a sponge better than a brush, but I still feel like it's definitely looking like my skin, which is great. It's what I prefer. They are the under eyes, and now we're going to go in with powders, which I feel can also be very important at how your face looks. Okay, I always powder my eyes first. And I went ahead and set my under eyes with setting spray. Let me just make sure that there are no creases before I set it with powder. Okay, and now we're going to set my under eyes. I always use a puff. If I do not use a puff, it's bad news. For today, we're going to go in this Makeup Forever powder. It's the shade Ivory. It works as a lightening shade, but it's a good powder. First, and then if I need to, I swipe very lightly. You do not want to lift up any concealer. It looks so much smoother than this side. Well, not so much, but it looks smoother. Like, you could tell the difference. You can see that I set it and it looks good. Alright guys, and this is what we are looking like so far. I do look like I have a tiny bit of dimension, and that's because I went in with a tiny bit of cream contour. I used the KKW contour stick, which is unfortunately no longer available. We'll see when she comes back with her brand. Now we're going to powder. For today, we're going to go into some RCMA makeup powder. This is the Premier Loose powder, and this is the shade Amber. Going to use, this is the A21 from Morphe and Ariel, and it has like the little mesh. I like to just dip right into this, honestly. I dip into where the powder is, and then I go in here and I tap it so I don't have too much. I like to do my cream products before I powder the rest of my face. So let's powder up. And I like to do pressing motions. I don't like to swipe or buff. I do that after I have set the whole face, and then if I feel I need to buff out, then I will. And I use the smallest amount. If you have dry skin, if you are, you know, mature skin individual, less powder is better, but I have to use powder because I hate feeling that my foundation is going to transfer, which most of the time if you don't powder it, it usually does. Oh, we're guys in. This is what we are looking like. I am going to take out my phone and I'm going to take a video so you can really, I feel like the iPhone definitely shows the truth. Okay, and so here is what my base looks like, and I feel like it looks like my skin but better. Like you can definitely see that I have covered some stuff up. I do have a tiny bit of dryness right here, but that's because we're in dry climate and my nose is adjusting, so I have like tugged at my nose a lot, but I feel like this looks pretty good. I am not mad at it. My under eyes look decent. So let me go ahead and finish off the rest of my makeup. Put a little bit of blush, bronzer, mascara, all the good stuff. I'll be back and maybe I'll show another clip after I apply everything of what it looks like, just so you could see that I mean, this is how I like my base to look. So okay, I'll be right back. Alright guys, and here is what the final makeup looks like. Very simple. I just put on mascara, no eyeshadow. I will go ahead and link everything that I have on my face down below, and if I can't link it, I will definitely write it out just in case you actually have it in your collection. But let me go ahead and show you a video of the final face, nice and done. What my under eyes look like, the face itself. So I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing. I didn't use any setting spray since I'm actually not going anywhere, or it's not like I want this last forever. Like most of the time I skip setting spray, but you definitely can put some setting spray on to add a little bit more moisture in case things are looking dry. But I feel like it's actually looking really good. Other than, like I said, the foundation just looks, I think I used a tiny bit more than I would have liked. But yeah, this is what it looks like. And for me, perfect base means it looks like my skin and it doesn't look like I have a ton of makeup on. And I know that's not for everybody. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. You know, some of you guys love the full coverage, and that's totally okay. 100% okay for you to like that. Just for me personally, it's just not what my preference is right now, but there was a time that it was. But that's it. That pretty much concludes this video. Alright guys, well I hope you found this video helpful. Base is one of my favorite parts of putting on my makeup because I feel like if your base is looking snatched, the rest of your face is gonna look snatched too. But let me know if you enjoy applying base products as well. I cannot wait for my no buy to be done so that I can purchase the Hourglass foundation because I really want to try it out. I don't know yet if I'm going to try the Lancome. If you're interested in me testing it out and let you know my thoughts, let me know down below. But for sure, the Hourglass foundation is being purchased. Okay, well that concludes this video. We are done. I hope you enjoyed it. With that being said, I would love it if you gave, just kidding, my child says she wants to say hi. Ven, Harper. No muevas eso, por favor. My toddler that drives me crazy every day. Alright guys, so yeah, with that being said, I would love it if you gave this video a big thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it, and you would definitely help me out in the algorithm of hopefully bringing some new fresh eyes to my channel. And if you haven't done so already, I would love it if you joined my small YouTube family by clicking the subscribe button. I would love to have you. Alright guys, I will see you on the next